your girl Jay Renee. You know, I always got something to say. And y'all, you already know what month it is. It is Hispanic Heritage Month, so you know I had to kick it off right. Shout out to Ice It Up Slushies and Houston Trend for sponsoring this video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Talk to Me Podcast. Y'all, I have a special guest in the building. We talking about from my university days in Corpus Christi. This artist, this groundbreaking person, I mean, he could draw without even tracing. Okay, he can create any superhero you could think of. You can follow him on his YouTube. We definitely gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about the culture. We're gonna talk about every aspect you could think of regarding Hispanic culture. Yes, y'all, it's Hispanic. Okay, I know he got a little black in it. That's what he do. So give it up for Dylan Silvas.
What's up? Thank you for bringing me on. Thank you to my girl Erin. When she told me I want to bring you on for Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm like, why didn't you bring me on sooner for literally anything else? But we could start on Hispanic Heritage Month.
Definitely, I want you to tell people what you do. I do love the content you have in the background because even though I know that you love comic books and all that is Marvel and was that Deadpool? Oh, you got the Deadpool. Oh, there's like
yeah. I mean, I think as anybody can see, comic books is definitely my thing. Like, I'm literally surrounded by the hose for a reason, because this is my life. This is literally what I do on my own channel. I have a channel on YouTube also. It's called Raging Rainbow, in case y'all ever want to check it out. I called it that because I wanted to be like the Reading Rainbow, where I'm like talking about books, but sometimes I get a little bit passionate. So, you know, there's a little bit of rage in there every once in a while. But I mean, yeah, this is what I do. I love talking about comic books, art, just movies, TV shows, whatever in general, just entertainment, media. That's my thing. That's always been my thing. And I think that's kind of what has helped us to stay friends for as long as we have. We both have that in common.
I want to get into what was it like growing up? Where are you from exactly? Where are you from? And then how did you get into comic books?
So I am from a little town called Taft in Texas. If you haven't heard of it, I don't blame you. It's actually named after President Taft, his cousin. So that's where I'm from. It's a little like farming community. We're mostly just known for growing cotton. And so there's that. But I mean, for me, like comic books themselves was never something that I really grew up with, because in my hometown there was no comic book store. You know, if I was lucky, my parents took me to the bookstore in Corpus Christi and I got to look through like some old comics or something, maybe pick up one or two, but never had anything like an actual collection. The majority of stuff I grew up with was like everyone else, like 90s Spider-Man animated show, the 90s X-Men animated show, like all of that stuff. That was my crack for me. You know, I became obsessed with it, and I just decided I wanted to always be a part of that world, whether it was, you know, in my own spare time, drawing them, reading the books, whatever it is. And then, well, now I've kind of made it an even bigger thing with my channel. So I'm hoping to keep expanding it out that way. But yeah, just comic books in general, for me, I mean, it was like superheroes was something to look up to, you know what I mean? Because coming from a small town, and especially for me being Latino, I mean, growing up, I didn't have a whole lot of friends just because I like to read a lot. So I was always usually kind of by myself. But I mean, seeing the superhero stories, just getting to imagine that stuff, that's kind of what started like me on my creative path, just imagining what it would be like if I were a superhero and stuff like that. You know, that's what drove me into what I'm doing now.
I want to get into the Latino culture. By the way, at any point, if I'm saying something wrong, please correct me. Please. I'm not trying to get canceled before I start.
I love it. I will do my best, girl.
So have you been able to look upon, you know, the artistry of the Latino culture and implement that within your drawings? Because a lot of people, you know, are like, oh, wait, he can draw superheroes too. I'm like, yes, yes, he can.
Yeah, and I remember that was actually how we met when I was drawing in a class when we were in college, that you just saw my stuff and you were like, oh, what is that? Yeah, I mean, that definitely for me, I've always kind of come from it. There are a lot of like great Latino artists, and what we all kind of focus on is just like these idealized forms of like men and women, which I mean obviously factors directly into superheroes. But then also what I love to see is whenever you start bringing in more actual, like either whether it be Mexican, Brazilian, Portuguese, any other type of like art style that starts to find its way into the actual like books or anything like that, even the fan art, like when you see superheroes drawn like Dia de los Muertos or something, like that is amazing. And I love to see it so much because it's a part of our culture. And then to see something that we love and is, you know, adapting to something that's a part of our culture, it's even better. And then, I mean, just walking around, like if here in my hometown of Corpus Christi, I mean, we have once, I think it's every first Friday of the month, we have like an art walk where we just have different vendors coming out selling stuff. So you can see people who do like their own art and everything. And I love going to these things because it's inspiration from actual like artists in my area who are also Latinos. And just to see all the different types of styles and all the different types of like mediums, whether it's paintings or drawings or sculptures, like people are so talented and they're so creative. And I love just to look at it because, I mean, it's more inspiration for me, but then it's also great to see other artists who are like up and coming and to see their growth as well. I mean, it's incredible. And we have artists that have come from here and have gone on to do like creative, like amazing things. So I'm hoping maybe I'm gonna be one of them, but we'll find out. We'll see if I got it.
Hey, you will be one of them, okay? You will be one of them.
Thank you.
Everybody, remember Raging Rainbow, okay? Remember that. Remember this interview because this
yes.
is going to happen. I want to talk about the, I know a lot of times we go through the self-doubt mentality. Like, okay, maybe I'm not as good as, you know, these people that are getting recognition. Maybe I'm not as good as this person of, you know, a different culture, a different color, you know what I'm saying, as our, right. I'm gonna just say our white counterparts. So how did you get through that? If you went through that, how did you get through that mental block?
Yeah, and so that is definitely something that, you know, I deal with because it's like, for me, I have a very interesting, unique type of thing because as people can look at me, I'm, as our culture would say, I'm very weddle. I'm light complected. You could tell that just by looking at me. And that kind of creates a unique challenge for me because growing up, when I was coming up, I mean, I grew up in a town of people that's pretty much 95% Mexican. And they typically look like what you would call, you know, your typical Mexican. We call that moreno. It's dark hair, dark skin. So, I mean, that's what I grew up around. And they saw me, and it would seem like every year until I graduated, I had to remind people that, yeah, I grew up here. I was born here. I didn't move from up north or something. I've always been here. So, I mean, it was that. But then also, whenever I try to put my work out for itself without anyone knowing who I am, they see my name and they see the first name Dylan, which seems, okay, is that a white boy? But then they get to Silvas, so it's like, oh, okay, so he's Latino. But then they see me and they're like, but wait, are you a white boy? It's very interesting, like the kind of way that I have to toe that line and kind of get through. And especially when, like you said, we tend to kind of have people who may be of a different complexion than us, who seem to be getting more attention. That definitely does suck. Unfortunately, I think colorism is something that's going to be with us for a little too long. But I mean, I think we can definitely move past that by just like doing like what we're doing, like, you know, just sitting down and talking to each other and talking about the things that we love and the culture, the things that we're working on, and trying to boost each other up. Because I love it. I mean, when I found out that you're doing this, I have been proud of you since you started. I don't think that I have stopped clapping for you and saying, I hope she becomes, I want her on the national level. I need her out there. That's my girl. I need her out there.
Oh, thank
you. No, for real. Like I don't think you understand. Like, I still tell everybody I meet, everybody I know about my friend Aaron, because ever since I met you, you have just like the best attitude, the best personality. You're so outgoing and warm with everybody. Like, I love it so much. And I'm not even lying to you. I'm not just trying to boost you. I've taken some of that myself. I try to like embody some of that energy too. I'm like, what would Aaron do today, man? How would Aaron handle this situation? And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I end up walking out of the situation with a big ass smile. So, I mean, I love it. I have to thank you for that.
I want to actually thank you because when I had nothing, like I was in school, no money. What was that? That was when I got my second eviction notice, and you were just like, hey, let's go to TAP. We're gonna go to TAP. I want you to meet my grandma. I was like, huh? And like, we had so much fun. And I love how you not just you, but your whole family embraced me. Like I was one of y'all. I was like, and then you,
Of
like,
course.
it was just so. Others will say it was weird how we met, and I'm be honest, I was being nosy. I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah. Oh, I knew it. As soon as I walked in, I pulled out my paper and I started drawing. And I was like, someone's watching me. I know it. Someone's looking at me.
I was like, what is he doing? And then that's when I was like, did you draw that?
I was like, yeah, of course. And then I think you even asked me, like, did you trace it? I was like, no, I mean, I have the picture right here. So I'm copying it, but I'm not tracing it. It's on my phone. I can't trace it like that. So,
And
I mean,
that
that's where it started.
that is what got me. I was like, he doesn't even have to trace anything. Like you could just look at something, you just and it comes out better than the actual picture. And I'm like, how does he do this? How does he do this?
Hey, what can I say? Cocaine is a hell of a drug. I'm kidding. I don't do none of that. Whoever's out there and took that serious, I don't mean that. But I mean, like, it's one of those things that, like I said, it kind of goes back to when I was growing up, like, just sitting in my room by myself and like being inspired by like superheroes and stuff and wanting to do that myself. But I was like, I don't have any of like the fancy materials. I got a notebook and I got a pencil. The most I could do is look at the picture and try and draw it myself. And so like I did it over and over again. I practiced as much as I could to get up to that point. I mean, granted, I've kind of let it slide a little bit here. I need to get back into it. I'm sure I'm rusty as hell, but I mean, yeah, it's just when you're drawing, and that's what I always tell people is like, if you want to get into art, just get into it. Don't worry about, well, I need to go take classes or anything. Just start drawing, because the thing is, art, like anything else, is just a muscle. You're going to get better with it if you keep working at it, if you keep practicing. And that's where I always tell people, like, just don't give up. You're going to look at a lot of your drawings or a lot of your videos and be like, wow, that was crap. But it's part of the process. You're going to get better over time. You just got to be patient with it.
I want to ask you if you do have any of your drawings with you right now. I know you have a lot of
I do.
collector's items in the back. Like you even have the vintage Batman in the back. That's live. I ain't gonna front.
Girl.
That's lit.
Girl, if I were to try and show you everything that's back here, it'd be way too much. So let me just, I know I've taken some pictures of like my actual drawings themselves, so I can actually show you those, because I was trying to find them before the show and I'm like, I don't some of these to show. So here's just like a random like little, this is when I was at work and I was bored. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and just start drawing an eye. So I just drew an eye on the back of a little slip of paper. So I did that because I was bored, and I still have that piece of paper somewhere. But then I'm trying to find like some of my actual superhero drawings, because I know I got them in here. So here's one I did.
I love how a lot of your drawings like tell a story before the story is even compositioned.
See, I try, and like sometimes like when I'm just like trying to copy someone else, like when I did this one of like Spider-Man as like Spider-Punk, like even when I'm trying to copy other people, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it feel real. You know what I mean? I don't want it to just look like I drew something on paper. I want you to look at it and feel like, oh, that actually looks like it has dimensions, like it has life to it. So that's what really gets me when I'm working on my drawing. Once I have the pencils down and I'm trying to go over it in ink, I'm trying to add that dimension so that way it looks like you can almost reach out and touch it. So I mean, that's one of my favorite things. Here we go. I got like some more like some Judge Dredd type of stuff. Like, and the other thing I really love is being able to do the shading when I can add in like the details. Like that to me is like the most satisfying part, when you can add in the detail and all of a sudden it makes that picture just come to life. Like when I do like this one of Joker's smile and then like his like suit or whatever. I did another one of, I've drawn this face a bunch of times of Dr. Doom. This used to be one that was just like a warm-up sketch. If I was in college classes and the professor's running late or whatever, turn to a blank page and just start drawing this face, because it's just, I love it. Like the power, just like being able to draw his eye in there and like give it some humanity and everything. Just, I love doing this. Like art is something that has always inspired me and I've always loved. I've always wanted to do it more like professionally, but unfortunately, like I said, it's one of those things. with art is that like you almost have to wait for your lucky break or for someone to really take notice of you and say, hey, you know what, I want you to start doing more stuff. And granted, I might not have gotten to that part with like my actual art yet, but I'm starting to get there like with my videos and stuff. So I mean, that's the other thing. I'm happy to just whatever people want to see me do. I love entertaining people. However I got to do it, I'll do it. If I got to run around, slap myself on the ass to make people laugh, then that's what I will do. I will do what I got to do to put a smile on your face.
Talk about how you've developed yourself within the media realm. I know you say with YouTube, and you've also done some videos in the past. Talk about how you got started with it and, you know, some of the struggles you faced through it and how you overcame them.
Right. And so, I mean, you know, it's definitely been a journey because just like with everybody else, you know, life comes in every type of way. Like you have your goals, the things you want to work on. And sometimes things end up happening to you. You know, you end up with situations where people end up doing harm to your life. I mean, I myself, I won't get too much into the details, but like I've been expelled from the university before. So, I mean, having something like that where I was literally making straight A's and then all of a sudden had someone come in just decide, you know what? I'm taking all of that away from you. And I had to go and figure something else out. I had to go and work for a while and actually grind because I didn't have anything else. And for a while that kind of like dropped me into my own like depressive mind state, which that's another thing that I notice happens with a lot of artists. It's very easy to get so down on yourself that you think, you know, what's the point? Why should I be doing any of this, wasting my time? And those are the times, especially like when I was talking about earlier about how you have to keep practicing, those are the times, especially when you have to push yourself. There are going to be times when you're going to get up and be like, you know what? I don't want to write today. I don't want to draw today. Do it anyway. Even if it's crap, do it anyway. You need to get into the rhythm. You need to pick up that pattern because ultimately that's what helped me to get past like my own depression, my anxiety, all of that stuff. That's what helped me to get past it. Because I was like, you know what? I don't have time for any of that to slow me down. I got work to do. I have things I want to get done and I have things I want to see happen for myself. And they're not going to happen if I'm laying in bed depressed. I got to get up and make it happen. No one's going to do it for me. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that I always also try to like push toward people, because I have a lot of like friends who have told me about like their struggles like with depression and stuff like that, and I get it, but at the same time it's like I never want them to stay in that mind state. And I see too many people who are just so ready to just stay there. They don't ever want to progress past that. I'm like, you got to. It's gonna hurt and it's gonna be hard, but once you're past it, you're gonna be so much happier that you got through it.
Right. It's that sigh of relief, that liberation, like been through the shit and I'm ready to tackle some more shit. Mm-hmm. Bring it on.
Exactly.
You go through,
and that's what I'm saying. Whenever you tackle like real problems, you get through real stuff, man. Whenever you just have like some little petty shit, it's nothing. It's not going to bother you at all. Trust me, that's just going to roll right off your back because you're like, man, I've dealt with bigger problems than you. You're nothing.
And like I said, I just love your spirit. Like it was meant for us to even come together, even though that was weird as hell. Like weird.
I know.
Like weird as hell. The fact that, you know, we could go for however long not speaking to each other and then come back as if it's the next day.
Exactly. And those to me, I've always felt are like the best friendships. You know, when you don't have to check in with each other every day. It's just like 10 years could go by. We pick up the phone. It's like, hey, what's going on? Like, and we just keep talking like as if we just had a conversation an hour ago. You know what I mean? Like I have another friend, like my friend Joey, we're the same way. I don't have to check in with him all the time. If he calls me up as like, yo, something crazy just happened, I don't have to ask him like, well, what else is going on? Like, I'm ready to hear the story. Like, those are the best friendships. And I think that a lot of people, they kind of put too much pressure on themselves also to like be something for their friends or to always be there or to have to constantly contact people. If that's something you got to do, then I mean, maybe that friendship isn't as healthy if it's demanding that much from you. Like maybe reconsider how much time you're giving those people. But I mean, yeah, like these are always the best friendships when it's like, no matter how long it is, like there's a mutual love. And like you said, I think that maybe we turned more than one head, especially the way that we would talk when we were on campus and stuff. But I mean, I think that our friendship to other people was at least somewhat, you know, refreshing because we're not like everybody else, especially not when we're together. So
big facts. We had all the heads. Other than Cerner, I want to get into your artistry of your YouTube channel. So you do have a YouTube channel called Raging Rainbow, and you said earlier it was similar to like Reading Rainbow, except with comic books. So explain a little bit more in depth about Raging Rainbow. How did you come up with the name, and you know, talk about the videos that you've posted and how you like detailed work as far as what to post and what to edit, all of that.
Right. And so I think this may be the part where we may end up losing some of your viewers. But see, the thing is, like, I started out my channel because like there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in comic books. There's a whole lot of shenanigans and just rigmarole all the way through that I saw happening. And I thought, so many people, for one thing, when I would go to the comic book store, there were so many people in there who would be saying like, oh yeah, I don't read these. I just buy them and then I go home and like put them in the collection. I'm like, why wouldn't you read it? And then especially like when I'm actually picking up the books, this is just an example. When I'm actually picking up the books and I'm reading, I'm like, this is a bad story. Why are y'all buying this? Like, why are y'all saying that these are good stories? We're not doing that. We're not lying to everybody. So that was part of the reason why I started my channel, because I was like, you know what? There are issues here that nobody's talking about. And when people do talk about them, they're missing like what I at least think are the most important parts. So that's where I decided, you know what? I need to put my own voice out there. And then when I was trying to start my channel, I thought, okay, but what am I going to call it? Because I don't want it to just be about comics. I want to be able to talk about whatever. So, I mean, I had, at first I was thinking about just doing something like I was going to do comics by Dylan, but the bi was going to be BI since I'm bisexual. But then I was like, nah, that's goofy. So I was like, what's something else? So I wanted to come up with like some sort of concept. And then I kept coming back to the Reading Rainbow, mostly because I wanted to do my logo as an actual rainbow, but using the 4 colors that are more synonymous with comic books, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So I wanted to make a rainbow with those colors. And then I was like, okay, now I think I have more of an idea, but I can't call my shit the Reading Rainbow. They already used that. So I was like, all right, you know what? Since I'm going to come at this passionately and maybe I'm going to yell sometimes, I'm going to call it the Raging Rainbow, because people might be like, man, why are you so mad about it? I'm like, it's not that I'm mad. It's that I'm passionate. And I've gotten to a point with my videos where it's like, it's almost more fun for me to just talk about it and like point out like little flaws and things in stories, or to point out just interesting, funny jokes in the books. I love doing all of that. And I mean, when I'm when I'm editing my videos, I'm going back and looking through. One of the things I love is that I don't really have much dead air. Like when you watch my videos, you're not going to see like a whole bunch of jumps through there, because it's mostly just me talking all the way through. Granted, I kind of guide it by going, page by page, but it's just, that's more my approach, is trying to give people like something entertaining to read. Because if people don't have time to read the book, at least you can listen to my video and you still know what's going on. And maybe you also have like a few like funny things you can mention to other people who read the books. But I mean, that's where it came from for me. Well, like, I want people to read ultimately. That's why at the end of every single one of my videos, I always tell people, if you're done here, go and read a book. And if not, well, then I encourage them to come and watch another one of my videos, because they should only be doing one of those two, watching my videos or reading books. So, I mean, they got a choice, but that's what I'm trying to push on people. I want more literacy in the world. I want people reading. Like I always tell people when I was in school, I remember being in the smart kid classes, like with all the little GT kids, gifted and talented kids, and they made fun of me for reading in my spare time. Like,
And now look at you. Look at you.
I know.
Prospering.
Literally, this has become my whole job. So I'm like, you know what? That's all right. They made fun of me. And that's what I'm saying. Don't ever be afraid of someone making fun of you, because you're going to win in the end, and they're going to be the ones looking like fools. So let them.
I want to talk about you definitely you touched on a lot of great things, such as people talking about you, right, being bullied. And I want kids, I want them to understand, cuss them out, okay, cuss them out one good time.
Exactly.
What you gonna do? Nothing. Okay. But all jokes aside, I know that can be hard for somebody, especially a young Latino kid. And you said that you were, because you're a lighter skin and your name is Silvas, but to them it's like, well, to those people within your class, let me say that, those people within your class, they're like, no, he's not. You like, I'm definitely am. Definitely.
I am. I promise.
Like, I promise. Like, it's on my birth certificate. I promise you. I promise you. And I also want to talk about, if you're comfortable talking about it, you being bisexual and
Oh yeah.
that in the Hispanic culture, the Mexican culture.
Yeah, and that's definitely something, when I was coming up, it's like we're very we tend to watch each other. You know what I mean? Like something you'll hear mentioned a lot, especially within Hispanic culture, is this idea of machismo, which is that men are supposed to be men. You're masculine. You're supposed to be the provider, the protector of the family. So I mean, anytime a man is perceived as being even slightly feminine, you're automatically cast as they must be gay. And it's always been kind of looked down upon in our culture. The one thing I will say is that within these last few years, there has been a little bit of a shift where now people are understanding that, hey, if my kid is gay, whether it's, a boy who's gay or a boy who's bi or a girl who's lesbian, whatever it is, like that's not really something that they need to be ostracized for, like they used to be in the past. When I was growing up, there were no gay people that were visible in my school, not for any particular reason, just because if they spoke up, they were very obviously told, well, you're gay, and they were kind of like pushed off to the side. So I mean, we didn't have any of that. I've talked about this like with my mom. When I was growing up, I had no example of how to be as a bisexual guy. So for the majority of the time, people always just assumed I was straight, or it was girls who would come and ask me like, are you gay? And I was like, no, trust me, I'm not gay, because I'm very much attracted to y'all. But that's where I was like, it's a struggle when you're trying to come up and you have no real like groundwork, you have no real like plans as far as like an example of someone else of how to be. And I understand like where that comes from, but I also like encourage people who may be themselves questioning like their sexuality, or they've already come out and accepted that, just be confident in yourself, first of all, because like I said, I had no example coming up, but now that I've grown up, I realized I didn't need that example. The only thing that I needed to worry about was becoming the best version of myself that I wanted to be. And to do that, you just need to decide what makes you happy. What makes you happy, and that's what you need to pursue. Don't worry about what other people have to say. Like we've already said, I mean, people are always going to be talking shit. That's never going to end. Even if you're doing the best, you could be doing the best, have all the money in the world, they're still going to find something to talk about. So I mean, you got to already kind of block that out, realize that's always going to be there, and just focus on your own happiness, especially nowadays that we as people like bisexuals, gay people, we can actually be more out, we can be more open, we can actually show ourselves and be proud. That's why we have our whole Pride Month. This is what we can do now. And I think it's time that we start showing people exactly, what it is that not only we're capable of, but that we've always been here and we've always been helping y'all out. It's just now we're actually proud to say who we are and who we love. I mean, I myself, I'm bisexual, so I mean, I can be attracted to men and women. Right now I'm dating a guy. So I understand sometimes people will use like the shorthand of just calling us gay, calling me gay because I'm with the guy. I understand that. It doesn't bother me. Like, honestly, I think that we need to not get hung up so much on like certain terms and stuff like that. It's more so just living your life, letting people see what you have to offer. I can't tell you how many times I'm walking with my boyfriend and we just get random people giving us compliments like, oh, y'all are such a cute couple. Like, we have a neighbor who told me the other day, like, every time I see y'all, it just puts me in such a good mood. I was like, well, I'm glad that we're able to do that. Like, we're not doing it on purpose, but I'm glad that we could do that for you.
Oh my goodness. I love and shout out to your boyfriend Juan, right? Juan.
One, yes.
Yes, Juan. And he is half Honduran.
Yes. Well, he's half black, half Honduran. So I mean, I got an interesting little
You
mix
get
with
that
him there.
seasoning. Little spicy.
Girl, I mean, hey, don't. If you were to see it, well, actually, I'll show you a picture. I'll show everyone a picture. I never really show anybody what he looks like. Where are we? We got a picture in here somewhere. Okay. So this is my boyfriend Juan, and yeah, like I said, he's got his curly little hair that always in my face every time. I find it everywhere, but I love it. I love his hair so much. So
Oh. Are you like this is like have you ever like drawn him as a superhero? Like, they gifted that as an anniversary present. Be like, surprise!
I was going to say, like, that has actually been in my mind for a while. I haven't figured out which one exactly, though, that I'm going to do, because, like, he has a few different ones that he likes. So I'm like, I could do any of them and just kind of like put him in there. So I don't know. I haven't figured out yet, but that was what I was thinking, either Christmas or anniversary. So I'm not sure which one yet, because Christmas is coming first and then our anniversary is in May. So we'll see. Maybe he'll get it for Christmas. And if so, I'm definitely going to be putting like a picture out there because I would need everybody to see that.
Hell yeah! And would you be coming out with your own comic book one day?
One day, that is absolutely in the cards. I don't know how long it's going to take because like I have so well, I can always put that aside. I have so many comics. Every box that you see in here is full of comics that I have to read. Like that's just the to be read pile. Like down here on the floor, it's pretty much covered with comics that I have already read. But all these, I hold on, I can show you. Like I got all of these right here, all of those to be read. I got all of these over here, and then I got all of these back here. So I mean, I got a lot of reading to do, but yeah, that's absolutely in the cards for me at some point in the future. Mostly what I want to do is probably be a writer, mostly because like with my art, I'm so nitpicky, it would take me too long. So I'm probably going to have to find an artist that I trust to actually like give my words like an actual vision, and then I'll focus on the writing. And then who knows, maybe at some point in the future I can do both once I'm comfortable with it. But yeah, that's definitely, I already have like a few ideas. I've kind of started, developing them, kind of putting out some like rough outlines of an idea that I already have. So I mean, that is something that's going to be forthcoming. So I mean, hopefully y'all will see it. I don't know if anybody out there knows about a group called Comicsgate. If you do, that is absolutely something you should be supporting. So just look forward to that. I mean, I don't know when it's going to happen, but yeah, maybe you'll get updates from like my YouTube channel. So always go and listen there first.
Okay, so we definitely everybody needs to go follow Raging Rainbow first.
Yes.
So they can figure out, when will Dylan put out the next big comic book series. And like, are you starting to get into animation as well, like as far as tapping into that, or are you sticking with the comic book?
Yeah, that is something I'd like to do too. Cause like when I was coming up, I wanted to be like, well, at first I wanted to like work in video games and stuff, but then I also I've always fallen in love like with animation, like, Batman, the animated series and stuff like that. Like I always wanted to work in that in whatever way possible. But then I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, I love speaking into a microphone. So maybe being one of the voice actors would be more for me. I love doing that, being able to like give a character life. I do that sometimes when I'm just bored here by myself and I'm reading comics. I'll just read them out loud in different voices because it makes the story more real to me and it makes it more entertaining for me. So I would love to do that if at some point, I get the chance to become like the next well-known voice for like Batman or something. That'd be amazing. But who knows? I mean, I don't know what the future holds. I can only hope that maybe that is somewhere in the cards for me, but I will never turn down any opportunity that comes my way. So
Hey, everybody, y'all better share this video because Dylan is a voiceover actor as well as a director, animator, comic book writer, all that.
yes.
Okay? So like, what if someone wants to make a request to you? Like, well, I want to be a comic book character. Would you do that? I mean, of course, y'all gonna have to pay him, but
I
like,
was gonna say. I mean, and yeah, definitely. Like, if that's how they want to do it, and if they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, then I mean, absolutely, I could definitely put like a person who's that confident or who has that kind of like enthusiasm. They're like, yo, I want to be a character in your book. I'm never gonna say no to you. Like, absolutely, I want people to feel like they're a part of this. Like, that's also why like I have my channel and everything. Like, I want people to feel more connected to the stuff that they love and not just be buying it just because like, well, I like the character. No, like get invested in it and find like something that you actually love about it and just have that passion and explore it. Like we need so much more of that here in our country. We need so much more positivity and for people to get into the stuff they love and just boost that out.
last question. What's next for Dylan Silvas?
Oof. What's next? I mean, you know what they say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. But I mean, I'm hoping that first that I get to a point where my YouTube channel is enough that people are respecting my opinion well enough that they want to share it with more people. And the most immediate thing I'm hoping to see happen is maybe I start working at a comic book company as like an editor or something, telling them like, yo, this story, it's not bad, but here's some things we need to tweak. Here's some things we need to adjust. I mean, that's something right now I can see tangibly happening to get me further into, this industry that I do love, even though I'm doing it more as like a fan right now. I'd love to be part of it as like an actual professional, helping other creators also to bring their visions to life as well. So I mean, hopefully that's what you're going to see me doing next, but if nothing else, you'll always see me talking about comics on my channel. So
tell everybody one more time where they can find you, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Twitch. I'm sorry, I said Spotify. All of your social media.
all the different stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram right now. It's at @mid_niter, NITER. And then I also have a Twitter. It's actually that same thing, but I turned it around. It's RETIN_DIM. So, and then of course my YouTube channel, The Raging Rainbow. That's where you can always find me. And I'm trying to expand more. I also started up a Substack under the same name, Raging Rainbow. So if you go and check that out, you can also read some of my reviews of comics as well. If you just want to do that, if you want to actually read it instead of just hearing me talk about it, you can do that. I'm trying to give people as much content as they can possibly handle from me. So.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming by and talking with me. And we got to do a collab video in the near future.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. And thank you for having me on. When you invited me here, I was like, whenever it is, I will drop whatever I am doing and we will get this done. I wanted to do this. So thank you so much for having me on.
I want to thank you and your family for loving me, for me, and encouraging me to be open with myself. Because, I was closed off. I was what a lot of people say, a-hole. I mean, I'm still in, but you all accepted me as that. So,
exactly.
People like you in my life, and like I said, call me.
Exactly. Yes, I love you too. And anytime you come down, you always have a place to stay down here.
All right, y'all. That's the Talk With Me podcast with your girl Jay Renee and Dylan Silvas. Please be sure to follow him and his YouTube channel, The Raging Rainbow, okay? Y'all, I mean, he has spoken some dope gems. Please be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Y'all better subscribe to his channel, God dog it. It's one places, and like I said, it's on the up, and up. And once it's up, it's stuck. Period.
Hey man, this is Loso with Houston Trend telling you to check out my homegirl, Jay Renee, with the Talk With Me podcast. You never know who's going to be the next guest, unless it's you. And if you want it to be you, make sure you submit j.reneehtx@gmail.com. Send her your information, send her all your links to any of your music, your bio, your videos, all of that, man. We need all that. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you get on the Talk With Me podcast with the homie Jay Renee. Because with Jay Renee, it always go down. You know what I'm talking about?